Well, we're at it again. We got another project going on. Only believe it or not, it has really nothing to do with this 95 Dodge Ram 1500 four-wheel drive V8. Instead, it's got to do with another 95 Dodge Ram 1500 non-four-wheel drive actually, that's sitting over there. Well, here's the next project. 95 Dodge Ram 1500 equipped with a 318. No, I'm sorry. That's not a V8, it's a V6. So here's what's going on with this $500 and counting project. And it all starts with a transmission. This transmission and transfer case, not the dog. Merging together. Anyway, the previously viewed truck, the four-wheel drive, transmission went out on it a few months ago, and this transmission was purchased off of Craigslist along with the transfer case to go into it under the false pretenses that this transmission and transfer case would work. This transmission was out of a early 90s Dodge Dakota, which they told us would interchange. Purchased it for I don't know, $100 or $200 off of Craigslist, and they pulled the motor and transmission out of the other truck, the one that's sitting way over there, and it didn't work. There's some subtle differences that would make it to where it's not interchangeable. But that's all story for another time. We'll be making a video on that as soon as I have unabridged access to the four-wheel drive truck. Anyway, the owner of the truck had a coworker that had this 95 Ram 1500 V6 two-wheel drive. And this is a second or third hand purchase vehicle. The person he got it from had it given to him, as I understand, by his son, who got the vehicle purchased from somebody some time away. For whatever reason, the title was never transferred. In fact, the original owner seems to have lost the title. But the vehicle was being driven by a family member, as I gather, and it jumped time on the timing chain. And there's the culprit right there. Original timing chain. Here's the original gear, one of them. And see if we're going to catch this very well on camera. Those teeth on that portion of the gear, as opposed to these teeth, are pretty worn. So basically, they were driving this truck down the road and it jumped time due to the wore out defective teeth on the gear. So they towed it in home and had it worked on, or worked on it themselves, I don't know which. There's a brand new timing set on this V6, but they never got it to run. And he just basically gave up on the truck. So my friend is purchasing this truck for the purchase of $500 in payments, with the intention of not only repairing the engine, but of doing a transmission swap with this transmission. The transmission and transfer case that was originally purchased for that truck. Explain what's going on here. Although this truck currently has a V6 engine and has an automatic two-wheel drive transmission, the owner doesn't want a two-wheel drive truck. If he did, he could have kept the one that he sold me. So what he's planning on doing is repairing this V6 if possible, and then pulling the transmission out, because for whatever reason the transmission currently in this truck does not go with the deal. If we want the transmission that's in it, we've got to pay an additional $200. Well, he says that's fine, he can have his transmission back, because he's going to put that transmission and that transfer case in this truck. So that's what the project is so far. As you can see, some of the work has already begun. He's got the water pump off, which I think is around here somewhere. There's the water pump and fan. And the water pump looks pretty good. So we've got a new water pump. He's still got to pull the intake, disconnect the fuel lines, a little bit here, a little bit there, and we're going to pull into the engine because we suspect what has happened is when the timing chain jumped time, it bent all the valves. And the reason why we suspect that is because the only cylinder in this entire engine that has any compression whatsoever is that one back there. All the other cylinders are what, dead? Are completely dead. So given the fact that this truck was moving down the road when it jumped time, and we've been told that these Dodges are interference engines for whatever reason. Well, just the V6 engine that they use in these Rams 1500s are interference engines. I don't know if that's true or not. I'll do some research, and if anybody out there on YouTube knows anything about that, feel free to comment. But what we think we're going to find is that we've got a shitload of bent valves. He's already pulled the valve covers off, or one of them anyway, and cranked it over and found out that the upper end of the valve train appears to be operating. These rockers are fluctuating, but if it's got bent valves, that won't make any difference because it will not seal the valves. Although I admit that it might be a little strange to have every valve in the entire engine except for the two valves on that cylinder bent. That appears to be the case. So I think here in the next couple days he's going to continue in the teardown. Already got the radiator and fan shroud assembly out, which is actually...
I don't have a radiator.
Oh, okay. He's got the fan assembly out. Apparently there's no radiator with the truck either. I don't understand that.
And no alternator.
No alternator. Okay, so somebody's been scalping parts off of this truck. Perhaps that's why it was originally purchased by one of the previous owners. So we've got to tear into the engine, find out what's going on with the valves, and if we do in fact have bent valves, then we either have to purchase all new valves for both heads, have them cut and lapped, and while we're at it, have the cylinder heads gone through, make sure that there's no other hidden gremlins that we don't know about, get it back together, or just look for some good used V6 heads to fit this engine and go from there and get the motor running, and then give the transmission back and begin the retrofit project if that's in fact what he's going to end up doing. So here we are with one more project on our list, just one more thing to go on my channel. The reason why he wants to keep this truck is the condition of the body. So we'll just do a little walk around here. The interior is pretty immaculate. The seats are in really good shape. The dashboard, well, it's got one crack in the two cracks in the dashboard. The headliner is clean. It's in nice condition. Let's see. Well, we don't have yeah, we do. 127,631 miles according to the odometer. So it's a less than a 130,000 mile engine, if that's accurate, and if that's the original engine to this truck. So far all the body damage appears mostly cosmetic, and we got a slightly busted rear tail light, good tailgate, good bed. Can't see most of the inside of the bed because, well, you can't see any of the inside of the bed because of one of these bed killers. I call these bed killers.
Easy with that.
Ooh, nice. I call these bed killers because what happens is you still get rust and water and crap that gets in between the bed liner and the bed. And when you're driving down a road, this thing's shimmying and shaking all over the place, and it's acting like sandpaper. It just eats away at the bed. So if he does pretty much the same thing that he did on every other truck he's ever got that's ever had a bed liner, this will be gone not long after he gets the truck on the road. At least, if nothing else, to see the condition of the bed and see what that looks like. Passenger side of the truck looks good. Got those on it. All the glass appears to be in good shape. No cracks or anything. The clear coat's coming off here a bit, but nothing major. So basically, what he plans on doing is converting this truck to become a four-wheel drive. He's going to keep this one and sell the other one, or at least that's the plan at this point. So we'll keep you apprised as to what we find on this project, and we'll kind of track it as it goes. And here's a real quick look at the outside of the 95 that he currently has. Incidentally, this truck survived the California wildfires that happened a few years ago. It actually had a boat hitched to it. When his dad's house burnt to the ground, so too did the boat. And this truck survived it, although, see if this camera's going to pick it up. The windshield has all these permanent, what I call hidden droplets of water or water spots. It's the laminate inside the glass that actually began to melt and bubble from the intense heat of the fire. But this is the truck that he's wanting to get rid of once he gets the black 95 converted up and running. This front end is hand painted, done by him, using spray paint. Looks like it's coming off in places. He says that the other truck is in better mechanical or structural shape than this one. This truck does have some issues, but it's a good all-around truck, and it's already a four-wheel drive. As far as I'm concerned, the only failing this truck has, aside from the fact that it looks like it drove through a volcano, is it's an automatic and not a stick. And I'm a standard man myself. This truck originally was on a four-wheel drive diesel chassis, which is actually that chassis. That bed and cab belongs on this truck. They did a switcheroo between the two. So, anyway, that's what is going on. If anybody has any comments or any advice for the upcoming project, feel free to comment. And thanks for watching.